Let me pull up my notes here.
Please, Tom, pull up your notes.
All right, so...
I'm listening.
You got to start this damn timer?
Nah, just do it. Just don't take forever.
Start the timer.
It's a new regime. We should give them a chance.
No, it's not. Next week is.
All right, fine. Here we go.
This is part of this. This is part of the show.
Where the fuck's my phone? Oh, it's a tragedy.
Where's
my phone at? I'm muting myself. We got an emergency. You start talking, I'll go find my phone. Here we go. Go, Tom.
Rosemary defeated Jade in a last knockout standing match. Jade went for a splash off the top rope, but Rosemary missed it.
I found it. It was in my pocket. Just telling you.
You're definitely not listening. So Rosemary hit a few F5s on the ramp. Jade was not able to get up. Rosemary wins and retains the Knockouts title.
Hey, can I say one thing before you get going as I start this timer here? This is a good example of people that hear the show, but they don't listen. Every week, I have to hear that it's my fault that you're doing a short Impact review. And for the last 2 straight weeks now, I've told you to take as much time as you want, and you have commanded me to start the timer. So I don't want to hear this. It's all Bryan's fault this week. You got it, everybody? All right, race, set, go.
Hardy Clan playing with animals.
Excuse me?
That's what was going on.
Did you?
Yeah, that's what was going on. They were at the house playing with zoo animals. What else do you want? So Moose comes out of the ring, calls out Cody.
Was he one of the animals? Moose?
Oh, my God.
Sorry, go ahead.
Fuck. Incredulous.
Thought it was a good question, but...
So, no, he was not one of the animals. It was like the spot monkeys and the giraffe. So, Cody attacks him from behind, beats his ass. Mini Moose, Brandi, comes down in an effort to calm down Cody and get him to stop beating up Moose. Cody decides he's going to lay off a little bit. Then he goes and roughs up Josh Matthews for no reason. Moose dives onto Cody.
I can think of a few reasons.
Josh Matthews, of course, playing the heel commentator the whole show. Bad-mouthing Jeremy Borash, the Pope, basically saying that people think Borash is the voice of TNA Impact Wrestling, not Josh. And you can see where that's going. So James Storm beat Jesse Goddard's Mr. Spectacular after Bram waffles him with a chair as he had on the Adonis lock. Storm then super kicked him and pinned him to win. Trevor Lee defeated Andrew Everett to retain the X Division title. Everett was going for a shooting star press off the top. Trevor Lee got his knees up and then rolled him up while holding the tights to retain the title and stay X Division champion. Hardys beat the Ektourage to win the national tag team titles. This was wackiness galore. They were fighting in the back. Senor Benjamin shooting fireworks off. Hardys win with a twist of fate and swanton bomb combination. Likely the last we will ever see of the Hardys in TNA. Of course, to add insult to injury, Vincent Verhey is going to get to review the Hardys from now on. So have fun, folks. Listen to that Vincent Verhey review Ring of Honor and the Hardys.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it sucks.
You want to start reviewing Ring of Honor?
No, I wanted to keep watching the Hardys.
Well, that's now not my fault. That's not Vince's fault. That's not anyone's fault, Tom.
I didn't blame it on him. I said enjoy listening to him review it.
Yeah, and you sounded very angry about that. Like it's a punishment for the people.
I'm disappointed. No, I'm disappointed that they're moving shows.
I'm sorry, Tom.
Because, you know, the stuff that was probably most important on Impact is now on Ring of Honor. So.
Sorry.
Drew Galloway versus Moose Grand Championship. Drew wins round 1. Moose wins round 2. The judges scored a split decision in round 3, and Moose wins the title by split decision. Drew Galloway did what I no doubt would have enjoyed doing in some points in the past and went outside and choked one of the judges. Then we had Lashley versus Josh Barnett for the Impact World title. This was basically a shoot wrestling match, about 7 minutes long, complete with double legs, judo hip tosses, submission holds. Kind of reminiscent to, I guess, a UWFI style match if I had to pick something. to compare it to. A lot of leg kicks from Josh Barnett. No running the ropes. They would get tied up in the ropes a lot and, even continue fighting amongst the ropes. So this was not your traditional professional wrestling match in any way. Lashley counters a double wrist lock attempt at one point with a full Nelson slam and takes over to get the heat. At the end, Barnett gets the double wrist lock. Lashley's able to get to the ropes. They fight a little bit. Barnett hits a palm strike and runs in for another, but Lashley kind of just bonks into him, then sets up and hits the spear for the 3 count. They plug the new ownership coming in next week, and we will see that new ownership in action tomorrow.
4 minutes and 15 seconds. A fine job.
Yeah, it would have been shorter if you didn't interrupt me.
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm ready.
All right, so we open up with a brawl in the crowd between Eddie Edwards and my opponent in Hermiston, Oregon on April 15th, Davey Richards. They brawl in the stands. They are broken up by security. We go to ringside. Josh notices a third headset at the booth. Out comes Jeremy Borash. Josh points out that it is a 37-year-old picture of Borash on the screen. Borash and Matthews argue and bicker. They bring up their credentials in what is best described as a pissing contest. Cody then ambushes the announce table and is calling out Moose. The crowd chants the heel Cody's name.
When I asked Dave what he thought of Impact the first time, he'd only watched a half hour of the show. And he really liked this opening segment with the announcers bickering. Now, my mind was blown because I swear to you, I got 50 pieces of feedback, email, tweet, whatever, text. Everybody absolutely just despised the announcers. And then Dave's talking about how awesome he thought the segment was. And everyone's like, what the fuck is going on here? So later he watches the whole show, and by the end of the show, he's like, I am so sick of this, I can't handle 4 weeks of it. Now, when I watched this first segment, there were things about it that I didn't like. But overall, I thought it was fine. Like, if Borash would have come out, and they would have done this exact same thing, and then Borash at the end would have said, security, get rid of Josh. And they would have come out and they would have hauled him away, and that was the end of the announcer feud. It would have been great. But unfortunately, it went on for 2 hours. And my God, by the 2-hour mark, I was like, dude. Like, if I watch this show every week, I'll watch it starting in 4 weeks when this feud's over, because it's just too much. But this one was not that bad. I don't like them constantly bringing up that, Josh is sitting there and he's talking about being at the Georgia Dome and 50,000 people and mentored by the great Jim Ross and all this stuff. It's like, and then he talks about nobody pays to get into the building. It's this kind of stuff. And this is just for the whole show, and the announcers were bickering. And a lot of the stuff they did on the show that we're going to talk about here. It's too inside, and you're catering too much to a tiny fraction of people. I realize you've run everybody off. I realize you're down to nothing but the hardcores. But if you do a show only for those people, you ain't going to add anybody else. It feels like it's too much of an inside club right now. Like, I haven't been watching the show a lot, and I turned it on, and I'm like, dude, I just feel like an outsider. I feel like, what am I watching? Like, they're talking about this, and it's like all of the Impact fans. It's like TNA Mecca. It's like a show for TNA Mecca, and I don't go there, and I'm an outsider. It's not the kind of show that's going to attract new viewers and grow the audience bigger. It's like desperately trying to cling to the people that still haven't quit yet, but these people ain't going to quit.
It's kind of like reminiscent of the WCW New Blood era in a way like that. Like, I felt like that was too insider, Oh, we're going to take all the belts away. Didn't they do that? They took all the belts away.
Yeah, you cannot, you just can't target the absolute smallest audience possible, because then you're going to be stuck with the smallest audience possible. You've got to target the larger audience. And that means don't go so inside. And
just don't even talk about it. What the hell? How hard is it just not to bring that crap up? Mention it if you want in like little interviews, but to have whole angles and segments and everything based around it. I mean.
And one more thing. If I have to hear on a wrestling show one more time that we're gonna make this show great, like the show's been terrible and we're gonna make it great.
This show blows, but it's gonna get better, guys.
And we're gonna do
Hang
better.
In there.
Like, dude, get out of here. Like, don't ever say that one time, ever. Like, if the show sucks, fine, it sucks. But come on TV and make it better. I want to see that it's better. I want to see improvement every week. I don't want to hear geeks come out and talk about how we're going to make it better. That means nothing to me.
Fake it until you make it.
Exactly, Tom.
Right. So next up, we had the DCC taking on the Reno Scum, consisting of Adam Thornstow and Luster the Legend. So the FSW Tag Champs live on national TV, complete with a name drop by Jeremy Borash and now me. Josh asked, which one is Mosh? Which I thought was a great line. Reno Scum run through DCC and pin Eddie Kingston, who was wearing a bizarre outfit. He was wearing tights, a tie, and a vest. They gave him the curb stomp, top rope double stomp combo to win in a squash match. So Stifler was in the ring, had a new blue ref shirt that Josh claimed was his doing. DCC teased dissension, but made up and left together. Also, Spud is the new ring announcer, so I don't know what happened to Aaron Rex.
Well, here's what I'll say about this. I thought all the wrestlers did a good job. I thought it was a fine television match. Once again, we go back to the announcers. As an outsider, as somebody who sampled the show again after having not watched it for a long time, how low rent is it that your fucking announcer is the guy that's like deciding what the referees wear? And as an outsider, what I got out of it was, here's a guy that came from WWE, and he decided to give the referees the SmackDown referee outfits. Is that not what it came across as?
Well, hold on.
They had black pants and blue shirts.
But listen, Josh is a fashion guy, so you would take his advice on this thing, wouldn't you?
I would not. I'm trying to make myself different from WWE, not have the same damn referees who were on SmackDown.
Well, Stifler was never on SmackDown, to my knowledge.
Well, no, but they all look like it.
Yeah, there was it looked a little different. It was a little flashier. Anyways, we go backstage. That was a big gripe of yours, that they let the announcer pick the outfits?
Yeah, actually.
The announcer with a fashion podcast?
Actually, yeah.
Multi-talented guy, so...
Yeah.
So Reno Scum did a backstage interview and let us know that you can get ready for an off-market dental plan if you get in their way. Oi, oi, oi.
This was not the best interview I ever heard. God bless the guys.
I tried to transcribe the last part too, and I'm not even sure I got it right. But Braxton Sutter, Laurel Van Ness, and Allie Love Triangle video recap. I'll never get enough of Robbie E. slowly punching Mike Bennett while Laurel Van Ness drowns herself in wine and tears. Mackenzie Mitchell brings up Maria, but Sienna, this is a backstage interviewer, Mackenzie Mitchell, but Sienna interrupts and tells her Maria had a nervous breakdown and she threatens Allie. The announcers put over the fact that they don't think we'll ever see Maria back again in the Impact Zone. Caleb Conley versus Marche Rocket versus DJZ versus Braxton Sutter with Allie. The new Impact books an X Division match just the same as the old Impact. Josh brings up the valid point, the very valid point, that Braxton Sutter should have at least sent a text saying he didn't want to marry Laurel Van Ness instead of forcing her dad to pay tens of thousands of dollars for their wedding, which makes me question his business sense, because that wedding should not have cost much more than a few $1,000s. Rocket runs wild because he's way bigger than everybody else. Almost kills Braxton Sutter with a quarter power bomb. All three guys hit a triple drop kick to him as he comes off the top rope. Josh puts over his commentary as representative of the X Division, no limits and exciting. Allie does a top rope dive on a Marche Rocket on the outside for no good reason. I guess she threw him inside, or he gets inside. Braxton Sutter hits a swinging fisherman's neck breaker to win. Laurel walks out on the ramp looking like a hammered zombie, still wearing her wedding dress. What the fuck was this match? You had the top baby faces winning with interference.
Well, let's start with the good stuff. I thought the match until the end was fine. It was a fine little exhibition match. Then Allie gets involved. The finish? Allie gets involved, and she dives off the top, wipes this guy out. That directly leads to the finish. So she won the match, number one. Then, what's her face? Laurel Van Ness comes out, and she's in her wedding dress, and her makeup is smeared. Okay, was the wedding a week ago, or was it 2 weeks ago?
It was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
3 or 4 weeks ago. Okay, do they realize that for us watching at home on television, we're not watching it as if it was all taped on one day?
No. That's the story.
What do you mean that's the story?
That's her new gimmick.
What's her new gimmick?
The distraught wino.
I know, but she hasn't changed her fucking clothes in 3 weeks.
Yeah, she's every divorced mother-in-law.
They change their clothes. It's just ridiculous. It's preposterous. You hear me?
How many times have you seen guys wear the same shit?
A word that Jerry
match.
Borash will make famous, by the way. Preposterous. I heard him say it 16 times on this show.
All right. Maybe that's her new ringing gear. So she just put it on to come out.
Yeah, sure.
It's her new gimmick. So we had Sienna versus Rachael Ellering. The match was sort of fine. Crowd did not give a damn. This was in competition with the Alexa Bliss and Mickie James match for least crowd heat.
Yeah, but you know what? Rachael Ellering's been a wrestler for 1 year. That's not bad at all for a year.
Bryan, these European uppercuts.
Yeah, they could use some work.
They may have been the worst ones I've ever seen.
Well, let's not go crazy.
No, I'm honest.
You get out there on the indie scene. Get back to me.
I mean, I'm not saying I could do better, but I would take. Actually, I am. I could do better, but I'll take that. If I were her, I would take that out of the repertoire because everything else looked good. I didn't realize she's a lot bigger than I thought. Not necessarily weight wise. I'm talking about size wise. Next to Sienna, who towers over the rest of the knockouts, she could hold her own.
How
tall is she?
I don't know.
Was she 5'10"?
No, Rachael Ellering?
No. I don't know.
Maybe 5'5", 5'4".
No, what? Really?
Yep, the other girls are just really short.
Oh,
or you're
my
imagining
God.
things.
What is, Sienna's 5'7"?
No, not Sienna. Yeah, Sienna's probably 5'8", I bet. Probably.
Damn, she
maybe
looks
5'9".
I thought she was way bigger.
No.
All right, well, I take back everything I said about that match. So Bruce Pritchard comes out and says he has something to wrestle with. Says TNA is dead. Introduced the man to rebuild around, which is Bobby Lashley, the current president. Lashley says he was also the choice of our current president. Alberto El Patron comes out to some quinceañera music. Pritchard says that he needs no introduction, then introduces him complete with Spanish accent. Alberto El Patron. So El Patron calls him a pedo. Out comes EC3 and seems pretty happy. EC3 beats El Patron to the punch, challenges Bobby Lashley. Lashley tells him off, and Pritchard accepts El Patron's challenge for tonight for Bobby Lashley, makes the match. EC3 suddenly pissed. Borash then takes a phone call at the announce table and says he has hot news and there will be a new legend debuting tonight.
I'll talk more about these announcers. Am I the only guy that doesn't mind the Pope at all?
He was a lot better here than he has been recently.
Okay, maybe that's it. At the beginning, when Josh and Borash are yelling at each other, the Pope is just in between them with his head in his hands, like, what the fuck am I doing? Get me out of here.
I think the problem with the Pope is he does zero research and knows nothing about wrestling.
Well, there is that. But here's my thing. What I want, here's all I want in wrestling for commentary. I want two guys. I want one guy who is the straight man that's going to tell it like it is and call the action and just be the voice of the promotion. And I want another guy who entertains me. I don't give a shit if he knows what he's talking about. I don't care. One guy needs to know what he's talking about and be good at his job. The other guy just needs to entertain me. He needs to provide color. That's it. Now, if you want to do a commentary booth where you've got, honest to God, if they didn't bitch at each other back and forth for 2 straight hours, if you had Borash as the straight guy, the announcer, and you had Josh as the heel color guy, fine. Josh is a great heel. But the position that they were in, it was just absolute death, and them screaming at each other was absolute death. But I don't think Josh should be fired. I feel very much like Dave does when I watch the show. Make him a heel, like a manager, or make it a 2-man booth, and Borash does his thing, which he does very well, and Josh does his thing, which he does very well, and they don't yell at each other. They can occasionally get into an argument about something, but it was massive overkill here on the show. And the other thing I liked about Borash was, I don't think you watched the old Ohio Valley Wrestling way back in the day where Dean Hill did commentary, but Borash is the old school announcer who will stand up from the booth and he'll talk to the people and he'll explain to them what's going on. He did that when Cody comes out there and Cody's wanting to know where Moose is, and Borash stands up and he tells the people, Cody, you all know that Moose is in Japan. And then Cody gets all mad and everything like that. I like that. I think that something could be done with this crew, but the way that it was on this show was just a nightmare.
All right.
Then we had Dutch.
Huh?
Or no, we had Angelina.
Well, yeah, you already talked about Cody, so I guess we could skip that. Mackenzie Mitchell interviews Eddie Edwards and is cut off by Angelina Love. She slaps him damn hard, and Eddie asks if Davey is such a man that Angelina says he is, why his wife hits harder than he does. See, Bryan, come on, man, I need to back up. You may need to bring a shovel or something, but...
Dude.
To block your face.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk.
All right, so Cody wants to fight Moose. Apparently, Moose is in Japan. Cody knows this. Moose wasn't really in Japan, by the way. Josh questions it. Borash laughs. Turns away. Dutch Mantel wheels himself out onto the Impact Zone ramp. Highlights all the past Impact greats. Boy, watching this video package and him put up all the stars on the screen.
I hate these.
I thought, man, it was a lot better back then, wasn't it?
God,
Says Impact sucks because of the past leadership. Says he wants to bring the people back, and that his boss is the people.
You know,
bring the people back. What about the people that are there right then?
I can watch Raw and SmackDown and NXT. I can watch New Japan on Access. I can watch NJPWWorld.com. I can watch all sorts. I can watch Ring of Honor on Sinclair. I can watch all sorts of promotions from around the world. Why, in God's name, would I watch The Clear Losers? Why? That's what this video said. We had all these great guys, but... I mean, great, you can blame it on the previous ownership. It doesn't matter. You had all these great guys, and now they're gone. And you're struggling. And you're looking to turn it around, and you're promising me, the viewer, that you're going to turn around. Fine, I'll go watch something else. When you turn it around, I'll come back. That's what this video says to me. I hate this stuff.
Yeah, I was not a fan. So we had... Can you explain what happened here?
So... I guess they just wanted to air the footage of the Hardys fighting a kangaroo, which was worth it.
Which why wouldn't you want to air
I know,
that?
it was awesome.
I'm going to have that aired at my funeral and possibly wedding.
So then they announce, or the Hardys announce, that they're going to go on their next expedition of gold. And they teleport. And so before they were released, they were going to teleport to an indie promotion and win the titles, and that was going to air on this show. But everything went down that went down, so they needed to figure out what they're going to do with the titles. And so I guess the story is, as they were teleporting, in mid-teleportation, the Decay met them, stole the belts, and then deleted them. And that's the end of the Hardys.
Okay, so couldn't we at least get some wacky thing where they're tumbling through space and
well, no, they didn't have the Hardys.
Yeah, I know. They could use like previous footage or stick figure. You're not stick figures.
Stick figures?
Like, no. Photos
Tell
of
me
them.
more about these stick figures that are going to tumble through the fucking abyss on this show. Jesus
Photos.
Christ. You made fun of my fucking fantasy booking and you come up with stick figures of the Hardys? Get the hell out of here.
No, I mean like photos, pictures of them.
All I have to do is stick figure with Matt's head on top of it and Jeff's head on the other one. And they can tumble through the ether and then their heads can fly off. They've been deleted.
And then they can be taken to a local medical facility to have the
A remote medical facility because they're never going to be seen again.
All right. Whatever. I just picture Abyss and Crazy Steve tumbling through space with the Hardys, and then we can cut back to the scene where Abyss and Crazy Steve and Rosemary have the belts. Or I thought what happened was the Hardys lost the match to Smokin' Joe, and somehow Decay were Smokin' Joe.
Well, you could have tried that as well, but they didn't think about it.
No, I think that's what they were getting at. So when they teleported back, maybe Crazy Steve was dressed up as Smokin' Joe, and since he won, defeated both the Hardys, that's what happened.
Got me, dude.
Listen. A lot of we're dealing with a lot of shit here.
You fucking made fun of my fantasy booking later for AJ Styles, and then you came up with Abyss is dressed as a fucking kangaroo, and they won the titles.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
All right. Again, 3 times in a row.
Dude, it deserves 50 times. I need to make that a drop.
All right, Alberto El Patron versus Bobby Lashley. El Patron won via pinfall after a belt shot. There was a ton of interference, 2 ref bumps. The second ref, Stifler, made the pinfall. I think the first ref saw the belt shot. El Patron cuts a promo on the announcer's desk that he's the new TNA champion. There's a conversation in the ring with a bunch of the backstage staff as we go off the air.
I'll tell them, dude, it's not TNA, it's Impact.
Oh, my God. I lost it at that point.
I pretty much lost it, too. It was a match. It was all right. I guess now Alberto El Patron is Bailey.
I was thinking about Bay Leaf. Remember the granny name contest? The one that Gizmo More Eggs won?
That's right.
Somebody just wrote it. Bay Leaf. I fucking lost it.
Oh, God. I've lost it on this show.
Or how about when she got an email from Hoopta Van Gupta?
Hoopa Van Goofa.
That's what it. Oh my God. Anyways.
Well, that was Impact, everybody.
I think Paisley's lost it as well. Yikes. Are we ready to move on?
You ready for Impact?
You got the timer?
I can do the timer. You want to know why? Because I am a professional, Tom. I'm going to grab this right here, and when the time expires, I am going to play a tone. Are you ready?
Why don't you play my entrance music?
I still don't have it.
I sent it to you.
I know. I got to get it on the computer. All right, ready, set, go.
So, Impact Wrestling from 360 in 2017, we get a ImpactWrestling.com exclusive to open up, an ImpactWrestling.com exclusive on television of Lashley complaining to the fans after losing the belt to Alberto El Patron. Bruce Pritchard urges El Patron to give the belt back, but he is apprehensive at best and says he is the new TNA, yes, he said it, TNA champion. We cut to a boardroom where El Patron is convinced to give the belt back in exchange for a championship rematch from Lashley. They say they can't make Lashley give him the rematch, but he can ask. So El Patron hits the ring, says he's not a talker, he's a fighter. He's going to kick Lashley's ass. EC3 comes out. He says tonight it's going to be C versus 3, and he wants a number 1 contender match versus El Patron. But Patron refuses in the most condescending manner possible. He repeatedly says he's here to fight Bobby, not the bitch.
Was it more or less condescending than Stephanie McMahon's reaction to any babyface on Raw?
EC3 eventually decks him, and they brawl. Then we have a recap of the Hardys and Decay from last week, where Decay somehow won the belts back in space. In the boardroom, we have Scott D'Amore, Bruce Pritchard, Dutch Mantel, and someone else arguing over why the Decay have the belts and what they should do over the tag team titles. We have a tag team match between Eli Drake and Tyrus versus Laredo Kid and Garza Jr. Josh calls out Laredo Kid for being a 30-year-old kid. These guys were on two different pages for a good portion of the match. Eli Drake ran wild with a reverse bulldog power slam, which I've never seen. Very tough to explain. An air raid crash, then is pinned with a schoolboy as he went for the tag to Tyrus. James Storm, Eddie Edwards, and Moose have a video package highlighting their recent excursion to Noah last week. Casey Quinn versus Brandi Rhodes. They push Brandi Rhodes' figure skating background. Before the match begins, Cody comes out with his GFW Next Gen belt, offers $45 to Casey, says it's $20 more than they were going to pay her, issues a challenge to Moose for the Impact Grand title. We go to commercial, we come back, and Rosemary has beaten the crap out of Casey Quinn for seemingly no reason, hits a F5, also known as the Red Wedding, and poses and then leaves. We have EC3 versus Alberto El Patron. Good match, worked in the main event style. Lots of big moves towards the end, kickouts. EC3 can't seem to put away El Patron. Goes to grab a chair to hit him with it, but suffers from a moment of indecision. El Patron then super kicks him in the head a few more times, locks up the arm breaker. EC3 valiantly fights, but taps out for the first time ever. So despite his workout plan of muscle fun, EC3 was defeated here. Trevor Lee versus Suicide, Andrew Everett and Braxton with Allie. For the exhibition title. There were lots of big spots with dives, a spot where Everett was superplexed by Suicide, while Lee German suplexes Suicide, and Sutter powerbomb Lee. Seemingly drunken Laurel Van Ness appears ringside, distracts Sutter long enough for Lee to hit a flying knee and retain the title. Sienna comes out, badmouths Allie immediately following the match. Bruce Pritchard comes to the ring, addresses the Impact World title, tag team title situation in the ring. He said there will be a four-way for the titles, and the belts are not won and lost on the internet or in outer space, but in the ring. Josh calls him out for earlier forcing El Patron to drop the belt in the boardroom. So Decay was pissed at this since they actually have the physical possession of the belts. They came out, cut a promo. Reno Scum came out, cut a promo, followed by Laredo Kid and Garza Jr. Laredo Kid cuts a promo in Spanish, and Garza Jr. heats up the crowd by asking, "Do you guys know what he said?" They say no. He goes, "I'll translate it. We're coming for those belts." And then they all brawl. Out of nowhere, the LAX music hits. Homicide and Konnan appear. They clean house. There's two new guys and a new girl with them. Konnan does his usual stick on the mic. They lay waste to everyone, including giving Crazy Steve like the worst, most death-defying cop killer I've ever seen in my life as they stand tall and the show ends.
Thank you, Tom. Excellent job.
How long was that?
That's 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Good show. Good show.
Go.
Davey Richards beat Suicide with the creeping death kick to win. Davey Richards, of course, flanked by Angelina Love, and also enjoying what could be his last few weeks on this planet. Jeremy Borash plugged the arrival of She, who would arrive later at the Impact Zone. We had a LAX promo in the back. They were playing cards, said that they're coming for the Impact Tag Team titles. Mackenzie Mitchell interviewed Laurel Van Ness. Laurel still in her wedding gown, still on a bender. She said she hates everybody. She hates Mackenzie Mitchell. She hates Allie, Braxton, everybody. She hates Maria. She hates Sienna. And in comes Sienna. Sienna says, no. Look, calm down. Everything will be all right. Threatens Allie and Braxton Sutter and says that she has a surprise for them. Then we had a six-man tag with Laredo Kid, Garza Jr., and Mahabali Shera taking on Idris Abraham, Fallah Bahh, or something, and Mario Baccara. So Idris Abraham they try to play him off like he was Egyptian, but said that he merely had an Egyptian background. Fallah Bahh is a big fat guy, but he can move around, so not too bad. And Mario Baccara has some nice curly hair and is from Croatia. So eventually, Mahabali Shera hit a big sky high on the 400-pound Fallah Bahh, and then hit a sky high on the Croatian Mario Baccara to win the match.
Are you making any of this up?
No.
Okay.
Swear to God. Garza Jr. here, probably the only guy in the match to actually get over as he has breakaway pants and ripped them off, much to the delight of the crowd. Reno Scum beat Decay with the curb stomp, double stomp. I don't know exactly what's called there. The surfboard double stomp. This was due mostly to Eddie Kingston's backfired interference on the part of the DC. Or I'm sorry, I mixed two matches together there.
I thought so.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't even know.
Reno Scum beat. They beat Crazy Steve. I'm sorry, they beat Crazy Steve from Decay in that match. So I apologize there. I got the matches mixed up. Moose was going to take on Eli Drake, but before it could get started, Cody came out, attacked Moose with a chair, and gave him the crossroads on the ramp. So the match did not go down. Notably, Cody wearing his Bullet Club hoodie. LAX took on DCC, and LAX won the match after interference backfired on the side of Eddie Kingston and the DCC. Probably most notably after the match, the DCC argued, pushed each other, and Storm walked away to seemingly begin his return to babyface and probably top of the card as a face here. We had a sit-down interview with Bobby Lashley. Talked about this is with Bruce Pritchard. Talked about in the past he was shot at by bank robbers. This caused him to miss out on his Olympic dreams and instead forced him into professional wrestling. Mackenzie Mitchell interviews Braxton and Allie in the back. Sutter basically said Allie was the best thing that ever happened to him and he will defend her forever. Then, Bryan, we have a match that you should go out of your way to watch. ODB takes on Rebel.
Oh, God.
So this is awesome, okay? Rebel seemingly has the match won, okay? But she's mad at Earl Hebner, and she goes to slap Earl, okay? Rebel, before that, had gone and put on her cowboy hat, right? So she's wearing a cowboy hat. She goes to slap Earl. Earl blocks it, and then takes the cowboy hat, puts it on, bends over Rebel, and starts making out with her. Then he goes over, and the match continues. ODB kind of takes control. She goes to drink out of her flask. Earl Hebner puts the boots on her, says no, doesn't put the boots on her, halts her, stops her, says no, you're not going to drink out of it. He grabs it. He starts drinking the flask. Then ODB grabs him, pulls him over, and starts making out with him. Then she hit the TKO on Rebel and pinned her.
Man, this sounds awesome.
They were talking about on commentary how the real winner of the match was Earl Hebner because he's 70, and at his age, he's not getting a lot of action.
That was 5 minutes. You can actually continue on if you want, because this is the best part of the show so far.
Yeah, that was the end of it.
Earl not getting a lot of action.
That was perfect. You really should go watch it. It's a spectacle and quite awful on many levels.
I'm sure Jim's going to be talking all about it. Actually, he did talk all about it.
There you go. Then we had Bobby Lashley basically squashing some jobber. Jake Holmes beat him with the spear. You could tell by the interviews with Pritchard and this match here, Bobby Lashley is now a babyface. Even though Del Rio seemingly, or Alberto El Patron seemingly came in as a babyface in their feud, the crowd really behind Lashley. So then they introduced the return of Karen Jarrett. Basically, she starts bad-mouthing the former State of Impact. Ethan Carter III comes out, all right? And Ethan Carter says that he is there, and he's going to make Impact great again, but not for the Jarretts, but for those who have his last name. So it looks to me, because what happened next is Josh comes in, and basically he's on the side of EC3. He does not like the new regime or whatever. And Karen slaps Josh Matthews, knocks him down. However, you could see the seeds have been planted for a EC3 heel turn, I guess, here, representing the Carter dynasty. and taking on this new regime here in Impact. So, whatever.
So there you go. Cool.
Yeah. Total Divas?
Oh, that's right. We have Total Divas. Let's get into it. I
Did
forgot.
you watch it?
I did watch it, yeah.
Okay, so we have Total Divas Season 1, Episode 7, A Leg Up. Speaking of that, Brian, I gotta go drain the third leg.
Oh, God, again?
Again, it's been an hour.
Dude, it hasn't been an hour. We do the same show every week at the same time, geek.
Again? What do you mean? Okay, you want the Impact report here?
Yep, I'm starting the timer right now.
All right, so on this episode of Impact, we will have Moose defending the Grand Championship against Cody, and then a match for the World Tag Team titles between LAX, Reno Scum, Decay, Garza Jr., and Laredo Kid. So the show opens with a boardroom meeting, essentially, with everybody arguing in the back. Josh Matthews is there, and he's trying to stir up some shit, cause some problems, and everybody's arguing. So Karen Jarrett says that she is going to go down to the ring, and she doesn't like bullies. So she goes down to the ring, and she says Marie Kanellis is gone, had a nervous breakdown, said in her house there's no bullies, calls out Sienna, and then just tears her apart. She said, I'm going to give you 15 seconds to apologize to me or leave the ring, and then starts counting down. 15, 14, 13. Thank God some guy came out, said that he's Sienna's cousin and that Karen Jarrett knows who he is. I don't even know who he is, but his name's KM. They book him to a match versus Braxton Sutter later on. Andrew Everett defeated DJZ. DJZ went for the ZDT, got small packaged, and won. So we are going to have a match between Shane Helms. Shane Helms charged Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett for the title. Of course, Andrew Everett, formerly of the Helms Dynasty. We have a video package with Earl Hebner and ODB, and essentially they're hugging and then they leave to go drink and get it on. So JB goes to the ring, calls out Rosemary. Rosemary says she's beaten everybody. There's no one left. ODB comes out. Then all the rest of the knockouts come out, and they get into a big brawl. So I don't know who most of these girls were. I guess I'll just move on. So EC3 comes down to the ring. He starts talking about the former world champions. James Storm comes out, and they decide to let the fans decide who's going to get the next shot at Lashley. They both want to take him on. Moose beat Cody Rhodes to retain the Impact Grand Championship with by split decision. In the first round, Cody accidentally kicked one of the judges, and Bruce Pritchard came out to judge for him. Essentially, Cody should have won this match, but the judges gave it to Moose, and Cody was not happy about that. Goes to kiss Brandi, but she takes off on him. So we have KM versus Braxton Sutter. KM won with a power bomb into a lung blower. Braxton and Allie brawl with Sienna and KM. And then Laurel Van Ness comes out, still drunk, still in her wedding dress. Then we had the World Tag Team title match. Essentially, it's just a match, and then LAX come in and lay waste to all the rest of the teams. They hit like a million double team moves, running, almost like a poetry in motion, where the guy's down on all fours. But one of the guys did that and then did a somersault senton into the corner on top of Abyss. They hit a powerbomb blockbuster combo to win and become the new Impact World Tag Team champions. So they got put over really, really strong in this match. Next week, we will have Eddie Edwards taking on Davey Richards, last man standing match, and a knockouts gauntlet battle royal for number one contendership. Can't wait to see it.
How'd you get that done in 4 minutes?
I didn't even have notes.
Excellent job, dude.
All off the top of my head. Can you believe that?
No, I don't believe that. That was actually...
I have no notes.
That was quicker than the Brock Lesnar. But you wrote down all the matches, I presume.
Nope.
You went through the front page report.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How was it? Hey, listen.
Like any smart man would.
Listen, forget all the recaps.
Yeah.
Was this show any good?
I'll tell you what. I actually really liked the last two matches.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The Moose and Cody match was probably maybe the best of the Impact Grand Championship matches, but I mean that's not saying a whole lot. But I enjoyed it, and I thought they put over, like I said, they put over LAX really strong in the main event. Basically, they just came in and hit a bunch of moves. Yeah, I mean, whatever. They were fine.
I ask because
a lot of spots. I know.
I had a couple of people email me saying it was just a horrendous show. So I wanted to know your educated opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, those are the two big bright spots to me.